Bastards. Sunday Mass. Hey, everybody. How are you? Good to see you. I'm Dirk. It's Dirk Weekdays. Time to catch up on everything this weekend. We had a big night last night. Thank you, everyone who showed up. Special thanks to Andrew Wolkowicz with the Canadian $2 right out of the gate. Let's send you a little gong. Thanks there, kiddo. So last night, we had a 4-hour marathon because we were making up for Friday night's bash, which I had to go to my friend John's wife's party, which was very, very nice. Thank you all for asking. Thank you for all of your pictures that you sent to Dirk Sunday Mass. And remember to send your pictures to basharddirk@gmail.com. You share with me, I share with the world. And we do an hour on Sundays. It's the newest iteration of iBashers. And thank you all for showing on up. Also want to thank the Patreon Pantheon. I'll let you guys run on the bottom while I look at the commentos. Hey, Dean, Sunday Mass Bash Up. Well, I wound up drinking an entire bottle of wine by myself last night. So I hope I wasn't too out of line. I don't think so, but sometimes I dread watching back stuff. Usually Paul comes home around 8:30 and he's like, look, there's wine here. And I wound up with doing a 4-hour stream. And thankfully, the bottle was over 3.5 hours because I haven't drank a bottle of wine since I was since whenever. It's crazy. Vasilios P. Hey, good evening. Andrew, looking back, I can't believe I used to argue with Mom when I was about 5 about an afternoon nap. Mom knew best. Man, I love an afternoon nap. I especially loved it back in the day. Which I have to say, since it's like AD now, it's AL after Laverne, because we used to love to take afternoon naps, and it was the greatest. And I looked forward to it so very much, and now I miss it tremendously. Melly C, hey, good day. Dirk, hope all is well. Great show last night. What am I wearing? I'm loving this watch. I'm still so floored by it, and I can't thank you enough for this incredible act of kindness. And everyone's complimenting me on it so much. I got a text message from a good friend of mine, Jay, who you might remember way back when. I think the very first week I did Dirk Weekdays, JS, drummer extraordinaire, and he had an interesting question that maybe you guys can help me answer because I was kind of shocked by it. Anyway, he asked me, he goes, I love that Charlie Brown watch. Where did you get it? And I told him all about it. It's the Weekender. It's the Charlie Brown. I'm calling this watch the Good Grief because that's his famous thing. For everybody who hasn't seen it, I know I have a green screen and it can be a problem to view, but this is the watch. It's got Charlie Brown's stripes like on his shirt. And there it is. You can see it perfectly just about. And his hands tell the time. It's a very attractive watch and it sits so comfortably. My problem is that on the show, I wear it on my left hand so I don't bang it up on the microphone. And it's like I don't have the dexterity to put a regular strap on. It's kind of cumbersome for me because I'm used to putting it on my right hand because I'm a left-handed kind of fella. Even though I do a bunch of things left-handed. Melly C, thank you so much for that. So anyway, what Jay said after he said how much he loved the watch was, he goes, have you ever talked about on your show, thanks, Melly C, thanks. Have you ever talked about guys with small wrists? And he's a big guy. He's about 6'1", 6'2", big guy. And he's a drummer. So I've always thought of him as he's a very powerful drummer. So I've always thought perhaps he had, plus average wrist size, but he said he has a very small wrist and he tends to wear his watches further back on his wrist. So there's, more room because he feels like watches look too large on him. Now, we haven't talked today. This was all done via text. So I said I would bring it up on the show. I wanted to talk to him first to find out exactly what his wrist measurement was for you guys who don't know. And this is, an interesting thing for you to do. You take a tape measure, right? A regular old tape measure. And you do it at the knuckle. That's, I wear it right on my knuckle. Some people wear it a little bit further back. Some people wear it at the very end of their wrist. I don't do that because then you do that and you tend to feel the crown. Or, obviously it doesn't happen to me because I'm left-handed. I usually wear it on this hand. So you just take this, wrap it around your wrist to get the proper circumference of your wrist. And I am 7 and a little over 7 1/4. So for me, it is, I feel personally for me that a 42 millimeter watch is the upper limit of what I should be wearing that looks attractive, that looks like it fits. Anything above that looks like I'm wearing a giant school clock. And I know that that's a big thing. You know, like there's a lot of people who have slimmer frames, smaller wrists. Tim Masso has a very small wrist. I think he says it's 6.75. And, you know, we all watch Tim Masso because he's the governor. If there's anything I ever want to know about a wristwatch, I tune into Tim Masso because he's not just chatting and having, you know, fun little debates about things. This is a guy that extemporaneously knows off the top of his head exactly which watch has which movement and which the history of each. The guy's encyclopedia. His knowledge base is just absolutely off the charts. I think he's really the most knowledgeable watch guy I've ever encountered. And I know there's a lot of guys out there with a lot of smarts, but Tim Masso for me. But he's got a very small wrist, and I know he's been lusting about the Milgauss. It's his favorite watch. He really wants to have one. And of course, he works for Watchbox. He could certainly have one when he wants one, but he's afraid it's too big for him. And mine fits perfectly on my wrist. It's 40 millimeter watch. 42, you know, like my Moon Swatch is 42. My Speedy is a 38.7 because that's the reduced. So I don't have a 42 in my collection. Topster's watch that he gave me. It's hard to tell exactly what the correct size on that is. Which watch box do I have it in? I have it in the green one. I don't. It's in on my shelf in the bathroom because it's a square watch, so it's got a totally different size. So but it looks great on me. So it's like I'm very comfortable with that watch. I love it a lot. I wear it. This is a 38 millimeter, and it's just really so. 38 is such a sweet spot for everybody. I think for men in general. I think it looks great on a lot of ladies too. Ladies, of course, have been wearing a lot of men's watches over the last several years, probably due to Ellen and. But there are versions of watches for smaller people have smaller wrists, you know, 34s and 36s. So I'd like to get him on the phone, find out what his wrist measurement is. What do you guys think about? Here's a poll. What do you guys think about watches that are generally considered too big for your wrist size? Would you wear them if you lust after it long enough, or would you pass and get something smaller? Just curious. Andrew says, Dirk, unless you woke up in a different city, don't worry about a bottle of wine. I didn't. Actually, I never really felt, I felt a buzz, but I never, and I drank a lot of water because I have my big water bottle here, and I just kept filling it up and drinking that seltzer, I should say, because plain water is just bleh for me. I have a pure water filter, and I had a Brita before this, and I have to say, I think that they're both kind of crap. And I don't mean that they're the way they make filtered water. It is the construction, the manufacturing of both of them is very plasticky and very cheap. I went through two Britas. They're both cracked at the base, right where the filter snaps in. But now my Pure is dripping out. And I've already called them because it happened once before after only about 3 weeks. So I don't know. Does anybody have any experience with those filters? And if so, which ones do you buy? Because I'm thinking about getting a different one because this one's not working out either, and it just feels so cheap to me. Jade says, evening. Oh, hey, evening. Well, evening for you. Where are you, Jade? Jade being a slay. What is a slay her? That's very clever. Slayer is a band I could never get into. It's so heavy. I know I'm a metal guy, but that's really heavy. Hey, CW watch enthusiast. Hey, Dirk and everyone. Hey, look at that beautiful piece. That's a Christopher Ward, right? They make some beautiful designs. Dean's here. Hey, some people like to wear a watch very loose as if it's going to fall off the wrist. Not for me. I am totally not in that camp. I don't like the loosey-goosey look. It's never been a thing for me. I don't like it. Carolyn Merritt, the girl with the wrenches here. Howdy, y'all. She was a big player in last night's super chat marathon that went crazy. We went out on both channels last night, so we had a lot of viewers because Sheen put iBashers up on his channel. Of course, we're a part of that whole ecosystem, so it was great to have people who I've never seen generally in the room to join the Bastards. You know, the Bastards are all special. Hey, Kevin Hawthorne from Lakeland, Florida. Kevin is that wonderful guy who's got that incredibly savant knowledge of knowing bus schedules and being extremely helpful to his fellow man. Thank you so much for your service, Kevin Hawthorne. Carolyn Martin says, pass on the loosey-goosey, right? Oh, you'd pass on a watch that's too big, right? Carolyn Martin has an extensive collection, and it's all quite beautiful. And I have to say, I haven't never seen a watch on her wrist, and I've seen her wrist shots, and they always look wonderful. Andrew would pass on a watch that's too big. Oh, you're in the UK, so it's definitely evening for you. What is your musical taste, Jade? I want to talk a little bit about, because who was it last night that asked me if I'd seen the Bon Jovi documentary? When I think it's called When We Were Young, or I forget. It's a retrospective on the 40 years of the Bon Jovi history, and I'll get into a little bit about what I know about him. I've met him several times. I met Richie several times. My connection, if there even is a connection, was that the guy who managed my band used to work with their management company, which is called Doc McGee Entertainment. So he worked for them for several years, and then when he left, he started a management company called Big City Entertainment, and they managed Hitman. And they were in the same building. It was near Central Park. And when I went to go, the first time I had ever met John was well after he was already super famous. And I wanted to get tickets for my nieces, my twin nieces and my nephew, who loved Bon Jovi, as everybody did back then, and still do now. My manager Ray said, I just called upstairs. Just go upstairs, and the receptionist will have the tickets for you. I said, oh, okay, great. How fantastic. So I took the elevator up, and it was very cool. That building, a lot of very famous movie stars lived there. It was a very fancy building. Not really fancy looking, but it was in a very fancy part of town. Tony Curtis, I used to see Tony Curtis in the elevator all the time. And he was always very nice, very short. And I'm not tall. So I was like, wow, he's short. And he was a big movie star. So I get up to the office, and who's there on the phone? But John Bon Jovi's like leaning in the doorway. And so I said, oh, hi, I'm Dirk. Ray called, and he asked if I could get the tickets that were saved for me. And she goes, oh yeah, hold on, John. And he's like, you're Dirk? Yeah. And he put the phone down. He goes, hey, Dirk, man, this is for your nieces, right? I was like, yeah. And he was so very, very nice to me. And he was taller than I thought, but very nice guy. So that's my connection. And then I met him at a couple of shows later on, and he was a very nice guy. But this documentary was really tough to watch, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Just want to get everybody in the room. Hey, Life with Ryan, Sunday Fun Day. Thanks, Dirk, for keeping Bastards going. Hey, man, what's my favorite spot? Well, I have a lot of different favorite spots. My favorite spot is Italy. You know, it's funny when you live in a big city like New York City, and I'm sure this is true if you live in Los Angeles or London or Paris or, whatever Mecca you might dwell in. You tend to not go, I go local. I tend to go local. I mean, my favorite spots when I was young was I loved playing at the Limelight, hanging out at the Limelight. I'm not much of a club or there's a great club here called the Cutting Room. I think it's owned by Mr. Big from Sex and the City. It's a great music venue where you could see everybody from the Winery Dogs to anybody who's kind of mid-tier. They might do a surprise show there. It's a lovely venue, great music. I love to support my local artists. I have a lot of friends who are really terrific musicians and singers. And I tend to go to Rockwood. Wherever they're playing, I'll go see anybody. But I used to love just the local environs. And I don't really go out very much. And I'm sure that's true of everybody. Where are you from, Life with Ryan? Good to know. Andrew says, I like my watch a little bit loose, not comfortable with it tight. Well, why don't you send me you sent me a lot of shots for the Bastard Gallery today. And Jeff just sent me one too. Hey Jeff, thank you so much. Send me a picture of how loose you like it. How loose do you like it, Andrew? Melly C, I wear a larger watch now days because due to my old age eyesight. Stop it. I used to hate the Cyclops, but now a Cyclops is a must. I have to admit that when it comes to Rolex, I do love the no date. I like the Cyclopsy thing's not my thing. I used to dislike it greatly. Now I kind of like it. I mean, I used to not like Royal Oaks. Now I think they're amazing. It just, your tastes change over time. I used to not even like Rolex at all until I discovered the Milgauss, and I went, what's that? Beautiful. Dean says, only watch I passed on was a U-boat watch. Yeah, they're big. Those are very big watches. Wow. Hey, CK watch enthusiast. I have a 6.75, just like Tim Masso, and my minimum size I prefer is 41. minimum. And I also wear a 44. Hey, okay. So of course I have my recent edition of the DeVille 30. Can't go wrong, which is helping me with going for smaller watches. Yeah, that's the beauty of the Omega line. They have, I mean, everybody complains that they have too many models, too many colors, too much choice. There's the spoiled for choice, famous British expression. We spoiled for choice. But we are with Omega, and people love to go crazy because it's like, 311-22-12020. The serial numbers are stupid. But if you like a watch in the Omega catalog, you are likely to find a watch in your color and design and size that works for you. And I think that that's great. Carolyn loves Richie Sambora. I love him too. I always thought that Bon Jovi got, because there was so much shitty hair metal back in the day, and I'm not going to name names like Poison, party rock, guys who look like drag queens, all the leopard skin clothes and the color form styles. It was just, there was so much stupidity. Everybody had to have big hair and it got so stupid. And listen, John is a beautiful guy and he was perfect for that. But I always thought that, like, maybe their first two records are not so great. She's a little runaway. It's catchy, but the rest of the stuff is all pretty bad. And then they started writing really, really great songs. Yes, they got together with Desmond Child and a couple other people, but it's a good thing to collaborate with other artists, because I think if you just write songs by yourself all the time, there's very few Kate Bushes and Peter Gabriels and people who are able, like even the new Billy Joel song. Once I found out that it was a collab with that ambulance chaser guy who had a song that he thought sounded like a Billy Joel song. It turns out Billy Joel had almost nothing to do with that song. Does it sound great? Yes. Does it have auto-tune all over it? Yes. And I got so disappointed. When I first heard it, I was like, oh man, I love this. Then he pulled the beard off of Santa and I got crazy. So I started watching, hey, Awesome Pawan. Hi, y'all. Ray Ray's here. Hey, Ray eating dinner. Lobsters walk. Let them go. Let the lobsters go. Dirk time with Ray time. Mr. You're a mean one. Mr. Bad Guys. Cheers, everyone. I'm doing a 22 millimeter and up guy for the most part. 8-inch wrist. Wow. No loosey goosey for you. You mean 44 millimeter, 22 millimeters. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Can you wear a 22 millimeter watch? It's like, I forget the guy's name. The guy with the young rugby guy that was friends with Sheen that were in Italy, and he went and he got the Patek Philippe Ellipse. That's what he goes for. It's a small watch, kind of pretty, kind of a girly watch, but not on him. It depends. It all can work for you. Jade says mainly metal music, but I pretty much like a bit of everything, to be honest. Makes for an interesting Spotify playlist. I mean, that seems to be the de facto thing. I don't use Spotify for one reason only, and that is that they do not pay their artists very well. It's a well-known thing. Apple's the best at paying their artists, Apple Music. If you're in that ecosystem, if you're not, I think Apple's market share has kind of dwindled. I mean, Samsung and the Google Android devices have really pretty much dominated the market, even though they kind of were a direct ripoff of the original iPhone. Just more people, more choice. Once again, we have more choice. You have infinite amounts of handsets that work on the Android platform. And once people kind of get tuned into an ecosystem, they kind of stay there. I'm an Apple guy. I'm kind of locked into it. But as far as Spotify, I don't use Spotify. I use Apple Music, and I don't really make playlists. I should. I know I should. I just kind of just say, hey, Siri, play, because I'm in the mood for something. And even though I'm a metal artist myself, I got to admit that I very rarely, I'll listen to like the new Judas Priest or the new Maiden. I'll always audition new records from bands I like to see how well they did. I don't think Iron Maiden's made any great records. They've made some spotty records. But I also think, and this is fair, and I think when you love legacy artists, it could be anybody from Led Zeppelin to Boston to Kiss to whomever it is. I just had to throw that in there. And it's very hard to like a new record from a band whose albums and catalog you love. A couple of them do it. Like a couple of years ago, our Judas Priest made an album called Firepower. I thought it was one of the best of their career. Scorpions made an album called Rock Believer a couple of years ago, and a couple of years before that, they made an album called Humanity Hour One. I thought it was absolutely one of the best records they ever made. It can happen, but there's another old saying that most artists make their best music before they turn 30, before life hits them, before all the trials and tribulations of life get in the way, disappointments, death, all those things, all the hopeful beauty and poetry. I guess that's why I don't know how old Taylor Swift is. And, I'm not in tune with what she does. I keep an ear out, and Oshino always tells me everything about her. He talks about her way more than I talk about Kiss. But, she now has this new record out that looks to me, I haven't heard it, but it looks to me like she's starting to get mature. Like she's starting to, this is a serious album, the poetry department or whatever it's called, even the graphics, the look of it, the sound, the title. And, she'll probably, she's probably hit the zenith of where she's going to go. And from there on out, I don't know. People really gave a shit about the Beyonce country record. And I just think that that's pandering. No shirt, no shoes. Yeah. Pandering. I don't get it. DLWC. I love the Catholicism steeped backgrounds on Sundays. Hey man, once it's in your soul, you can't get out, no matter how hard you try, and I have. But once a Catholic, always a Catholic. Even I was having a nice email exchange with one of our beautiful bastards, and I was talking about, growing up in the whole Catholic thing. And I said, what do we do with our religions when we get older? We take the pieces of it that we like and we discard the parts of it that we don't. Because, you have to look the other way when there's something that you're about that your religion's not about. But there are things in your religion that you like. Yesterday, I went and I lit a bunch of candles in my beautiful church, and there was a Mozart concert. And of course, I was doing Bastards that night, so I couldn't go to the show, and I would have. But I actually, I might have the card on me. I had it in my bag. I think I took it out. Anyway, they were doing one of the priests who's been there for 50 years was retiring. And I got to watch the orchestra queue up and start rehearsing Mozart and watching the conductor and watching music. I spent about an hour in there with my neighbor, Pat, and we both lit some candles for all the people in our lives and pets and all the things we want to do for other people, because it's a time to remember it's not about you, it's about other people. And I really got to enjoy that. So yeah, that's what we do. Life with Ryan says, thanks, Dirk. I live in Central Arkansas, a beautiful state I've never been to, but my wife and I visit New York City every year around Thanksgiving. Send me a little email at bashdardirk@gmail.com and tell me what your interests are. And I'll see if I can curate a little bit of a list of things I've done in New York, or food I've tasted in New York, or a couple of bars. I'll keep you away from the super touristy stuff and try to get you to explore some kind of New York's hidden treasures and gems. We do have them. People just don't know about it, I think. Sure. So thanks for that. Dave, Fahrenheit 451, nearly 100% upvotes. Some need some catch up. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to do, I'm not going to name names, but listen, this is a show that I do 6 days a week, other than watch Fashion Police. And this is my new intended career, because what happened to me last October. And, I have to make some decisions going forward about, how I'm going to continue and, not go looking for a day job and all this stuff. Simply by hitting the upvote button and simply by just subscribing, if you want to come back, I'll guarantee you two things. One, this is the nicest community I've ever encountered on YouTube. We don't trash talk. Oh, well, we do, but we don't trash talk the other YouTubers, because that seems to be like a battleground. I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm here to try to forge our own lane, and I say our because I think this is our show. I think I decided long ago to really give up on having a topic. Maybe I'll have one or two in my head. I'll plan some watches, but you guys send me all of your photos and your comments and super chats and things like that, and it changes the whole tenor of what we're talking about. And that, I haven't seen that, and somebody's probably going to try to copy it. I'd love to have one of those little YouTube plaques behind me. And the channel is growing, and I'm so grateful for every single second of all of you guys. So thank you for mentioning that, Dean. Dave, I appreciate it so very much. Dean's here, so I was gonna say I've seen Bon Jovi many times. The best gig. Oh, you saw them in Milton Keynes. Wow, you saw Queen there too, right? In '89, the Slippery When Wet tour, when they were at their best. I'm going to make a statement here that's probably it's not going to go along well with your philosophy. Yeah, that's a great record. I love New Jersey, and I especially love my favorite song. I love I'll Be There For You, but I love Wild Is the Wind. It's one of my favorite Bon Jovi songs. So almost at the end of the things. I just want to make sure I get everybody in there. Christian Coleman, wear the watch you like 100%. Do it for you. I mean, I don't wear watches that I think look too big on me if they look goofy, but that might not be how you think. Always the smartest thing. Wear what makes you feel confident, makes you feel good, what makes you feel like, this is the watch for me. Absolutely 100%. 100%. That's right. It's Kieran Peasy. How's she cutting, Dirk? How are you? Dean with the 199 super sticker. Thank you so much. Let's give you a little bangy bang bang for that. 199. Let's give you everybody's favorite. Seems like it's the favorite. Cha. Got to put the cha at the end, as we just discovered last night. Hey, Life with Ryan. Thanks so much. Upvoted, subscribes, and I wish I could do more. Hey, man. Thank you so much. That's, we're not out there shaking the can. Whoever can will. I do the same thing. Whenever I can, I will. I'm very funny about, like, I have this little trick where when I see somebody, I got scammed with a dog, a homeless guy with a dog. Turns out he was on 2020, and it turns out he was, it was his neighbor's dog that he dog sat. And he took the dog out and he begged for money, and everybody gave him money. I gave him $5 every day for like 10 years. And then I found out it was a scam. When people come up and pander to you, I think you just have to be selective with whom you feel is deserving of the money. Now, everybody's deserving of having a home and having food to eat, of course. But man, it's so easy to just, when I see somebody with an animal, I'm just like, I start to melt, because I just think more about, like, we can pick ourselves up out of the gutter, but they can't in the big city. So that drives me bananas. So yeah, upvote, subscribe, and wish you could do more. Thank you. You're doing all that you can, and that's great. We all just need to do whatever we can and whatever you're comfortable with, and that's wonderful. Andrew says, even when I was personally on the outs from the Catholic Church, what did you do? I still feel that life goes to crap. Having a base in faith gives hope for better days. It does. I was so mad at God when he took Laverne away. I was so mad. And I actually, like I told you guys, I went to that Easter vigil, and I had a meltdown in the dark because it was all candlelit. I just had a meltdown. I just asked, what the hell did I do? With all the crap in the building and my neighbor and all these terrible things that are, I guess everybody at some point in their life has hardships. And this year just happens to be, the last 2 years happens to be, something you got to go through. And, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I hope that's true, but I didn't sever my ties with God over that. And I'm trying to look back on better days and try to find a fulfillment, which I do right here on this show. DLWC agreed regarding Catholicism. Still love the smell of the beeswax candles. Man, I was an altar boy for so damn long. It's nuts. Right. Hey, Yoshino Malley's watching the show. It doesn't matter if you were scammed. Giving to the homeless is about you and what you choose. 100% it is. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And it didn't make me not do it. I'm just a little bit more selective. Like, there's a couple of guys up on my big street by my neighborhood, and I always pretend I'm on my AirPods because I know that they're just going to go buy booze or drugs. And that's, right. He's right. If that other person is running a scam, it's on them. If you know about it, then fantastic. I agree. I couldn't agree more. Your charity is your charity. You choose to give the charity however you choose to do so. So a couple people last night asked if I'd seen that Bon Jovi thing. And so I like Bon Jovi. A lot of people don't. I do. I think that they've written some great songs. I think he was, in his day, a very, very underrated singer. He had a terrific range with all that rasp. I know he went to a very famous vocal coach here in New York, who was like kind of there's two big vocal coaches in New York, Don Lawrence or Marty Lawrence, and Katie Agresta. Katie Agresta is Cyndi Lauper, Annie Lennox, a lot of people. he went to her, and he really got his voice in shape by like those third, fourth, fifth records. Sounds great. Great sounding records, Bruce Fairbairn. Anyway, this documentary was fucking painful, man. First of all, it was so slow and meandery. The direction was so boring. And then he came off kind of disingenuous. I mean, he had like a little bit of a breakdown when he was talking about himself. And it wasn't like somebody died or, he's having a lot of voice trouble. Hey, I'm a singer. I know when you don't have the tools in your tool belt, it's one of the scariest things. And as we get older, our voices change. All those crazy, crazy high notes are way harder to get to. You have to do a lot of stuff to get there, if you can even get there. He had some, I said when I first saw him struggling vocally, that I thought it was Richie left. It's psychological. He might have some kind of an actual physical problem, mechanical problem. I mean, your vocal cords are literally this big. They're tiny, and they're a membrane, and they're in your larynx, and they just, the amount of air, there's so much, it's so fragile, believe it or not. It's amazing that anybody keeps their voice for any period of time. You can strengthen it. You can't strengthen the actual cords themselves, but the surrounding muscles, there's a lot of things you can do. Turns out he had to have a whole bunch of surgery and had to have like a graft put onto his vocal cord because it was some kind of serious damage. That's scary. And that also comes from, and I know this because I've done it twice, but I never injected it, and that is steroids. The more I sing, generally, because my technique is generally good because I studied for a really long time. But there are nights when your body, it's your body. Your instrument is your body. There's nothing you can do about it. Could be mucus. It could be fatigue. It could be so many things. Inflammation. So that's why they give you, and here's how it works. And I hope I'm not boring anybody. Here's how it works. So say you're John Bon Jovi and you're on the road and you're doing, these guys back in the 80s, people used to tour for like a year and a half. And I know that's the only way to make money now. Back in the day, you didn't make the money off the touring. You made the money off the records. So you stayed out on the road so you could sell more records, sell more merchandise. Now it's the opposite. You don't make any money from records at all. So he's doing, 18 months on the road for one album. Eventually that's going to take its toll. And his range is actually much, much bigger than people think it is. He's very close to a 4-octave singer, if not that. He's put in some great performances, and he was terrific live in the 80s. Really good, just like the record. But lots of things can come into play. John is not a drug addict. He's not an alcoholic. He doesn't, abuse any of those things. He didn't become a cigarette smoker until I think he said he was in his 40s, and he doesn't do that anymore. But he did do one thing, and they hired the rock and roll doctor. And the rock and roll doctor is a guy that tours with you to keep you in check, and that is cortisone shots. And a very serious one. If anybody saw that movie A Star Is Born, there's a scene where Bradley Cooper's character, he's all talks like this. He's trying to do Sam Elliott and all that stuff. And a doctor comes up to me, he goes, "You ready?" And he gives him a shot right in the ass. And that is cortisone. And that this shot will work within 20 minutes, and it'll make all the tissues in your body just, all the swelling go down. And it'll do that too. When it's very serious, you'll get a shot right here. And John did that. That I know about. And he did that for a while on those 18-month, 2.5-year tours. He did them because, you've got shows booked, like 2 years in advance. You have to be up for, it's not just, you got to be ready for on the night. You got to be ready for every night. And sometimes you're doing 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Now these artists Adele loses her voice and she cancels all the time. And I don't even think she ever plays more than 2 shows in a row. A lot of artists don't want to do that. And this is hard rock. It's a very, very difficult job to keep your stamina up that long, especially as you get older. So I get that he's being introspective and talking about, how hard it is, and I wanted everybody to believe me, because one thing people don't realize about John Bon Jovi is that Bon Jovi the band is John Bon Jovi. He's the only one with the record deal. He's the only one that has a say. Everybody else in that band, including Richie Sambora, is a hired gun, and he has had very few lineup changes. I think he's just had two. His bass player, who almost never played on their records, they've been using the same bass player for years and years and years. He's now officially in the band. He might be in the band, but he's still a contract player. And even Richie, who co-wrote all those big hits, but he's not on the record deal. Sure, he's got his own solo record deal, or he did, or whatever. But I think John was overwhelmed by the fact that the onus is on him for their success and stuff. John, message. You've had all the success in the world. And he does say one very profound thing. He says, I'm not going to get any bigger, because you can't get any bigger. That's Taylor Swift's job. That's Billie Eilish's job now, because they're the zeitgeist of the music world. John Bon Jovi's a legacy artist, and he's lucky to be able to still play arenas and stadiums like U2 are, and all the great rock acts, Madonna, all those people. They're not going to have new radio hits. That's done. It's over. So he's cognizant of that, which is great. But like, he has this little meltdown, and I rewound it twice, and I even said to Plus, is he like crying in his supper about himself? It wasn't like, something terrible happened. It was kind of like he's letting people down. And I was like, you're not letting anybody down. Let's not be ridiculous. Crazy. Delboy ZAZAR 99.99. Wow, just an overdue super chat. Love your work, Dirk. Thanks. Upvote you louses. Oh man, thank you so much. You know what you get for that? Mega super chat. Mega super chat now with Earthquake. And Dean, £4.99. Best tracked played at the gig was Wanted Dead or Alive with the 12-string guitars. Yeah, it's great. I mean, sure. I mean, that riff is amazing. Emmett played it last night. It's a tricky little thing too. But Emmett is so superiorly. The guy's he's a legendary guy. He's one of those jukebox guys. My Jimmy from my band was always like, you just throw it. My friend Vinny's even the worst. You could throw any track at him. Emmett's kind of a savant in that way. But Mr. North, as great as they were as original artists, they cut their teeth for years playing other people's music, so they're very well rounded. And of course, Emmett has now toured the world on big stages, huge stadiums and arenas. He's pretty much. And as you might remember, when I did my top, he's one of my favorite guitar players in the world. Thank you, Dean, so much for that. Big gong. Thank you, kind sir. Ray says, would our miracle of a planet be better off without religion? Just saying. I mean, even in Star Trek, they never really address religion for humans. Almost seems like it's out of the equation. But you look at a lot of the other, extraterrestrial life, and sure, the Vulcans, they definitely seem to have some kind of monotheistic kind of religion going on there. Who knows? Andrew says, I had cortisone shots in both my knees in the 80s. That's hard to say. Blew both knees and needed the help. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. But once you start abusing that, you know what happens? I should have said this part of it. What happens is when you do that for the voice is eventually it gets calloused and it starts to get hard, and you can't undo that. So when you have rigidity in your vocal cords, when you lose the elasticity of it, that immediately changes your vibrato, how you spit a pitch out, what kind of wavering, it's like, or, that's the difference between a straight note and a note with vibrato. The more rigid the note is, you will not have the ability to control those notes the way you want to. And that's what happens, like your body is your instrument, and cortisone can really save you for a big show. And, but it can kill you in the end. You got to be really, really careful. Kieran P says, have you seen the movie? Have I seen this movie? Because many years ago, one of our first apartments, we rented a house with our friend, and he had two small children, and they lived with us. And these kids were like Terminator 2 and Harley Davidson in the Marlboro Man. Is it total garbage? It's total garbage. But the intro was Wanted Dead or Alive. I've seen that movie 50 times in pieces because I can't sit through it because, yeah, it's total crap. But, kids love it, and that's fine. Dean says, yes, I watched the replay. Does that mean you, Anasheen, you and Nasheen are out and Emmett is going to take over? Yeah, you wish. That's why I was like, so, because one, I love him as a person, and two, I didn't expect him to do that. So I'm very grateful how absolutely kind was it for him to not only lend us his time, but his immense talents as well. And you can't say that he didn't give you a great show. He's a natural and a very likable fella. Lord H is here. Lord H. I liked it. You liked what? Harley Davidson in the Marlboro Man. This is an interesting. I pre-read this, and I'll tell you what I think about it in a second. How do you say that? Copel? I wouldn't say legend artists can produce great new songs. Best examples, new Judas Priest album was probably one of their best since a long time. Firepower is a much better record, and I'm being very, very small lane for the big group. Anyway, Judas Priest is a legendary metal band. For those of you who don't know that, you probably all have heard of them. They put a record out about 3 or 4 years ago called Firepower. It was stupendous. They had the producer from their classic era, and now they have a new album out that I don't think it's anywhere as good. I listened to the whole thing. There's one track, I think it's the last one. I thought it was amazing. It sounds really tinny, and the drums sound fake. And I was open for it because I thought that they're on a roll. Because some of those tracks are good. I mean, like Panic Attack, Panic Attack, Panic Attack. It's a little gratuitous, but that's just me. I'm happy that you like them because I'm happy that they were able to tour the world and still be fantastic. Hey, Lamados 50. Voice vibrato is natural or learned? Both. I have met so many people who don't have a vibrato and people who have a very whoa, 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 or whoa, 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 whoa. There's a lot of different singers out there, that have different natural vibratos. And there are some people out there that have very little vibrato at all. And now, not to be a curmudgeon, because, I tend to do that. But, with all this tuning software, you're not getting any of that anymore. Nobody's getting that natural where somebody slides beautifully, or if they do, it's you can actually draw it now and make it happen. But vibrato is absolutely controllable when you're learning. You can absolutely learn how to apply it. There are so many great teachers out there. If you're considering being a singer, you can completely change the way you sing. I've always been loud because I have a lot of power. And when I started, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I used to copy all my favorite singers, Ronnie James Dio and Bruce Dickinson and Freddie Mercury, all the guys that I thought were amazing, Ian Gillan. And, I could do a lot of the stuff. I didn't have that really super high upper range. I had a very thick kind of mid range. And I went to a couple of different voice teachers. And then I went and I did a gig, not a full gig. I went and sang a song called Stargazer by Rainbow because my friend said, you should come. And they were an amazing Deep Purple band. And I didn't have it. I just halfway through this 8-minute song, I started to just, because I had no training. I had no stamina. I had no experience. I didn't have any of those things. It's very rare that somebody can just walk out of the box and just be amazing. So their singer in their band, who was terrific, gave me the number of this guy, Marty Lawrence, who I wound up going to for years. And, he taught me about vibrato. He extended my range by about 12 notes. They were there. I just had to figure out a way to dig the dirt out, it's the same with practicing scales. If you're a guitar player or practicing, paradiddles or whatever, practice makes perfect. Can everybody achieve the same goals? No, you are going to achieve the very best of what your body gave you, your God-given talent. That's a real thing, or not. whatever you were born with, physiologically, is going to dictate, if you are a tenor or if you are a baritone or if you're a coloratura soprano. So many coloraturas. Everybody wanted to be a coloratura, and that isn't even a real classification. It's not. It's like deluxe. It's not real. Coloratura just means more colorful, more flowery. It's a style. Certain of the great sopranos who had that incredible ability, agility to flower up, to pretty up stuff. I mean, coloratura is now considered a category. There are certain people that want to go there, but back in the day, everybody was misclassed because I'm a tenor, I'm a coloratura. Everybody wants to be what they're not. Most rock singers are tenors with an extended head voice, and that's just how it goes. Not everybody. Some people are just Steve Perry. That's tenor. Pop tenor. Pavarotti, the greatest tenor. I don't care what anybody says. That guy, he was the maestro. There's nobody better than that guy ever. Andrew says a boss years ago said he went to college for music and was a better drummer than the guy from Def Leppard. Well, got to give Mr. Rick Allen a little bit of credit here. Difference is, with one arm, he's getting paid to do what he loves, and you're not. That's very true. That's another thing. But competition in music, I hate it because everybody does what they do well, right? Don't they all do what they do well? And shouldn't we all try to excel at what we're capable of and not look over into our neighbor's backyard and say, I'd love to have, 100,000 subscribers. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I hope so. I think we've developed a nice little community here that's kind of unique. Some very, very nice folks, that allow me to get drunk with my best buddy on a Saturday night and say, stupid things, because it's great that, you get to know people in a way on this channel. And I've met some fantastic people, but, when people say, oh man, Roger Daltrey's not as good as Robert Plant and Adele's nowhere near as good as Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera is as good as Christina Aguilera, and Adele is as good as Adele is. And if you like them, you like them. It's the same with I went to that party the other night, and my friend John, who's in my band and is a middle-aged man who loves, he's a red-blooded American male, he loves Dua Lipa, and he was ready for me to say how much I hated her. And I was like, no, Asheen turned me on to her, and I like her music very much. I think she's got a cool voice. I don't know how real it is. Seen her on shows that's probably lip sync, but the tunes are good. I think she's pretty cool. She's a little bit different. It's very modern disco, and the melodies are great. The arrangements are good. I think everybody has a lane, and everybody should choose to excel within their own lane. The same in all these channels on YouTube, all the infighting and stuff. I noticed early on when I started watching these channels that, there are some people out there who just want to bring other people down, and they thrive on that, and they get clickbait and click viewers and all that stuff. They're all baiting people for stuff. But then there's people out there, and they want to sell watches, or they want to sell guitars. They're looking to, make money, and it is a business. It can be a business. But then there's all these people out here who generally and truly love in watches or guitars or whatever it is you collect, cars, and love the horology, love the love the history. Who doesn't love history? I love finding out something amazing about a product or an antique or something that I have, and somebody says, wait a minute, do you know what that is? I'm like, I would think that I would, because I'm an investigative person, but some people don't. So yeah, I don't think we should do that. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah. So yeah, Angelo Minikillo, welcome, Angelo. The grass on the other side. I don't know what language that is. Is this Latin? Almost no, or German. It's not good. I'm imagining the grass on the other side is not that good. I'm guessing that's what that is. Can someone train their voice to become a baritone? Most men are baritones. Most men are. and all the jobs are for baritones because that's what most of the great classical works were written for, because that was the common, the tenors, the the tenors and the sopranos, and the bass baritones. There's more of a fight to get those roles because there's too many guys that study to be those, and there's not enough roles for them. So that's why you always see the same tenors and sopranos travel all over the world and play at the Met or La Scala or the with the Berlin Philharmonic or any of the Vienna Philharmonic, all of those amazing orchestras that in countries that do amazing opera. They go to Japan because Japan loves opera. There's more roles. So if you wanted to train yourself to become a baritone, you probably are one already. You just have to learn how to maximize your vocabulary within that range. And that's all. And that's a pretty cool thing to do. I mean, I don't know if you uh, are a singer, or if you've wanted to become a singer, or you're a karaoke person. A lot of people think that karaoke is stardom. People go out every third day. I'll never forget, years ago I used to pay my rent by going to this one club to sing and win the prize money, because I was a trained singer, and most people are out there going, "Tommy used to work on the docks," or "We're the rebel." Yeah, people sing the same thing. Hotel California. First of all, never do a song that's more than 3 or 4 minutes long. Um, but I used to talk to people all the time, and I give them Marty's number or Don's number and stuff. People, you want to become a singer? Take a couple of lessons, see how it works out for you. You might find out that you're a tenor. They check it out right away on the piano. Your first lesson, they'll see how far you can get. They'll see if you have the ability to get up there, or if you can get up there, or how low you can go. And it's beautiful, and you should do it. I think so. 199. Thank you so very much for that. And for that, I'll give you the uh Del Boissier, agree, Ari, competition in music. The whole idea of a Hall of Fame for rock and roll is nice, farcical. It is, until they put Thin Lizzy in there, obviously. I mean, is that just ridiculous? I mean, you see the infighting and the arguing. I don't care anymore who gets in there. I mean, people should be in there, and then there's people in there that shouldn't be. And what is rock and roll anymore anyway? Nobody even gives a shit about rock and roll anymore. They don't care. Rock and roll is so freaking dead, other than the legacy artists. They should just make it the Pop Hall of Fame and then let everybody in, because nobody cares anymore. Anyway. Oh, it means the grass on the other side is only greener because it's watered. That's funny. James says, Dirkster, any recommendations for decaf coffee? Sacrilege, I know, on Sunday Mass. Listen, I'm drinking High Test from Napoli. It's called Kimbo, and they do make I like, depends on how your method of making coffee is, but I like Italian roast coffee. Ely makes a great decaf. I've bought it many times because Paul drinks decaffeinated coffee. The day that the doctor says to me that the caffeine is, I have to quit caffeine, is the day I jump off the bridge, because it's just like, I need it. Ely, Lavazza, Moto, Kimbo, Sagafredo. I love all those. Sagafreda. I love all those coffee brands. I love the Italian roasts, but I mean, I'm not a big fan of that American, small batch roaster. Like the stuff you get, and it's red and it smells like weed. Because we have a couple of little coffee shops around here. I'm not going to name them because they're nice people, but their coffee is so abhorrent. The place I worked at, the place that fired me, had their coffee was undrinkable. I used to bring my own can of Ely espresso to work so I could make my own coffee, because their coffee, which was very expensive, they would charge like $5-6 for an espresso, ridiculous amount of money. And their coffee is like some family blend that they worked really hard on, and it tasted like ass. And everybody hated it. I mean, people who would come in and they would hate it. So these small Stumptown, that's a brand that I think is just bleh. Confession, that was another terrible one. All these new guys that get together, oh my god, that's like the guys who own pot shops. This is my own blend of weed. This is my own blend of coffee. You know what? I like coffee that's made by Italian families who've been making it for a couple hundred years because they know what they're doing. And Italy doesn't grow any coffee. They get it from Africa and South America. They just know how to cook it. Ray Ray says Lust for Life. Is that going to be your song? I bet it is. Space Ace is here. Is the Dark Side of the Moon and Alice in Wonderland sync really only a coincidence? Yes, 100%, as far as I know. Some pothead or some guy who was on mescaline. Scotty H, don't jump off the bridge, Nid. Just keep drinking caffeine. Yeah, but yeah, it comes a time when it gets into your life, but where that happens, Andrew says coffee and a cigarette, pizza and beer, red and or blonde French. Some things just go well together. Dave, I did not know that you could make coffee with caffeinated water. I didn't even know there was caffeinated water, but then again, they put everything in water nowadays, don't they? Del Boy, $6 for an espresso. Yeah, because it's like $4 something, and then they put the tax on it. It's ridiculous. And then you want a double espresso, and I drink doubles. Oh yeah. I did a deep dive for Space Ace on Italian coffee roasters, and Lavazza's the oldest one. Ely was the 30s. My favorite one is my current favorite is Kimbo Neapolitan brand 1961. Sagofredo, I believe, was in the 20s or the 30s. And listen, they've been doing coffee a long time. Lavazza's been around. Apparently, Lavazza's crema, that's not the cream on the coffee, but the actual it's brand. It's a like a make that they have. It's a level of coffee. It's their highest one. It's called Lavazza Crema. Apparently, that's the #1 selling coffee in all of Italy. So, hey, interesting to know. Anyway, guys, time for the Bastards Gallery. Thank you so much. You all send me pictures? You did. Here we go. You sent me a wrist shot. Thank you, Andrew. You send me pictures, I share them with the world. Anthony Newley, if anybody knows that, he's the guy that wrote "In a World of Pure Imagination." He wrote Goldfinger. He's one of my favorite guys. He had the David Bowie copy, and he admitted it. Because, David Bowie's like, ashes to ashes, funk to funk. We know Major Tom's a junkie. He had that thick kind of rich sound. Anthony Newley, that's exactly what he sounds like. Stop the world and want. He wrote all those songs. He's got a crazy, very slow vibrato. You can control your vibrato once if you don't drink too much the night before. So let's start. We got a lot of pictures, so let's get started. Andrew's got a lot in the gallery today. Cats. Here's his 28-year-old. Oh, there's 3 of them there. Look at that. Enjoying the sunshine, as they all do. I keep my shades down now because I have nobody to open up the shades for. The sun, when I see the sunshine cast a shadow on my floor, it just makes me kind of sad. That's what happens when you lose your friend. You hold up pretty well, and then you don't. Hey, Mac. Mac is here with some Nomos action. Let me get all my stuff off the screen so everybody can enjoy them. Enjoy the pictures. The Bastards Gallery. This is Max Nomos. Let's blow that up. Very oyster looking bracelet. Beautiful. It's great. People are loving the Nomos. Nomos is a big thing for the collectors, man. That's pretty cool. Hey, looks great. Oh, you haven't sized it to your wrist? Or are you a loosey-goosey wearer? Send us a comment right now so we know exactly what's going on, because that is or you just don't have it. You just don't have the clasp engaged. That is very oyster bracelety, man. Look at that. That is very Rolexy in a lot of ways, man. It's very attractive. Beautiful watch, man. That color is outrageous. Looks great. Thank you so much. That was from... I got to keep it going down. That's from Mac. Thanks, Mac. I got to screen all the Ray stuff. Oh, you got a video here. Ray, I love you. I can't play videos, though. Can't do it. Can't play the videos because I have to download them first, and then it takes up my whole screen. But I'll download them for the next one. How's that? That's a movie. And then, okay, you got Quartz O'Clock. Oh, we've seen this before, but it's worth showing because we talked about quartz watches the other day. It's quartz shame, you know, because people love to shame their fellow man and what they wear and how fat they got. And people make themselves feel, it's just a method by which people try to make themselves feel better. Thank you so much for the quartz clock. Hey, man, you have a pretty big quartz. Is that your quartz collection? That's pretty damn big, gotta say. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, okay, good. Quartz clock. This is Andrew. He's talking about his afternoon nap. And, you know, when there's an afternoon nap and you got cats in the house, this is what you get. Are they having a fight or are they grooming one another? That's beautiful. I wish I knew your secret, man, for keeping your cats around for as long as you did. Because, man, what I wouldn't give for 5 more minutes, man. 5 more minutes. That's all. Hey, Vasilios. Hi from Greece. Very nice. Here we go. I think we got a couple from Vasilios today. Having a Guinness draft. Nice. Great looking. I'd love to see some loom on that. Did you send me a loom shot too? That Guinness draft in the can will do, man. The nitrous-y one, it'll do. Looks great. Dude, beauty from Vasilios. Oh, that's nice. Hey, man, that's what the Bastard Gallery is all about. Share a picture that made your day today. These beautiful flowers. You know what? Bella Fiori. Beautiful. Beautiful. Shit. Oh, that's amazing. Roses are magnificent, aren't they? When they open up. Incredible. Beautiful. Wow. Are these yours? Did you make these? Did you grow these? This is a beautiful collection. Oh, look at that. Hey, living their best life ever. Beautiful tulips, man. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for a piece of a little bit of God's beautiful earth, Vasilios. Thank you so much. Yeah, this one's for Sheen O'Malley, who had his tomahawk last night. He's having a big steak. You know what cracks me up about Europe is everybody has induction tops and no one in America does. Better internet and induction tops. That's the first. I didn't look at the steak. I looked at the induction top, which I'm amazed by. Hey, here's one from Walt. Hey, nice. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Look at that. You got your kitties and your watch. Let's see what that is. Beautiful. It's a great design. Fantastic. Oh, look at it. It's a Weiss. It's a Weiss. 17 jewels. Do you have the case back off? Is that or is that an open case back? That's interesting. Beautiful. Oh, look at that. Very attractive dial. Very Wild West style, or actually kind of rollerball typeface. Oh, Vice is from Los Angeles, California. How interesting. It's a watch manufacturer from LA. That's cool, man. I did not know about Vice. Thank you so much, or Weiss. Just so used to pronouncing everything in a. It's called the Kerry Blue Vice watch. Let me just tell you, your lads will recognize the breed. Oh, your Kerry Blue Terrier, of course. And she's as happy as can be running around in the woods all day in Maine, chasing chipmunks and birds. That'll make a Sheen happy. Maybe you won't recognize the watch, though. I didn't. Watch from the USA. Now in Nashville, formerly of LA. So I guess it's about collecting Weisses or Vices that are from LA. I bet that's a thing. This is the Gauge Limited Edition. Wow. Impressive design. I agree, man. Oh, nothing beats the Bastards. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. What an absolute pleasure. That's a beautiful watch. Look who's here. Wow, that's a beautiful collection. This Mont Blanc. As we all know, the beautiful Carolyn Martin makes her own pens. And he collects pens too. I wonder, do you have any of Carolyn's designs there? Beautiful. Is this 2 pictures or 1 picture? 1 picture. I think you just sent me more than one, so let me get to it. Did you say what it is on here? Okay. It's Mont Blanc, Visconti, Cross, Schaefer, and Parker pens. So you did get to take that nap, Andrew? Because that's a cat nap, but there's a reason why they call it a cat nap. I can't sleep with socks on, man. I gotta take my socks off. I feel trapped. People can fall asleep with socks on. I can't sleep with socks on. Can't do. Melly C. Hey, Melly C. Sometimes it works perfectly. When I take it off my wrist, it's the contrast. Here's the cat that won the contest. What a scooch. What, that is a beauty. What an absolute beauty. I love him. Or her. And there's more Timex. There's some Snoopy right now. I think you got me started, Melly C. I think you sure did. I think I'm screwed now. And by the way, you have very young looking wrist and hand. So stop calling yourself old. I don't like that. Beautiful. So this one I'm assuming is loomed and not an Indiglo, because I don't see. It was funny. It's got, when I took it out of the box, it had a little plastic notch on it to pull it. Actually, no plastic. It was paper. So I couldn't engage, I guess, during travel. So you can't engage the Indiglo battery. Great looking. It's cool. Actually, it might be Indiglo. I can't tell. Cannot tell. No, it can't be. It can't be, because even the hands are loomed. Hey, look at this fancy looking G-Shock. Holy smagoli. I guess that's not a G-Shock. That's a solar powered Casio GMS. I mean, this looks like Gerald Genta's City, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Wow. That's attractive. I mean, it looks a little bit Patek over here and a whole lot of Royal Oak up there. But it's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Here's one from Jeff. Hey, all the Tudor lovers out there representing. Here's Jeff. Looking great. He's got a big wrist. You can tell right now. That is a very beautiful color. I have to say, that combo, oh man, I'm loving that combo. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at that dial on that. I love a rubber strap. Look at the reflection. Beautiful. That might be my favorite Tudor dial ever. I love the contrast there. Anybody know how they tint? I guess when they're making the loom, they just add some kind of tint to it, I guess. I don't know. I'd love to watch how they make loom. I'm going to see on YouTube if they have such a thing. Thank you for that, Jeff. Oh, Andrew sends us a wristwatch. Okay, there you go. We get to see how loosey-goosey you wear your watch. Okay. I can't tell that it's loosey-goosey, but it seems to suit you quite well. What size is that watch? It looks like it might be. Actually, it looks like it might be 41. Can't tell because I don't know how big your wrist is, but you're not a small guy, so I'm assuming you have. Your wrist looks extremely masculine, sir. I'm assuming that it's a corresponding girth. Here's another wrist shot. Oh, now we're going to see it? Oh, you sent me 2 of the same. I think every time you send me a shot, it comes up twice. Here's one from Jade. Hey, Jade. This is for you, Asheen. This is the Psycho Circus. Is that a clock? No, it's just, is it a drum head? Oh, it's a drum head. From the Psycho Circus. Welcome to the show. Uh-oh. I have it too, but you have yours. Is that original print? I have it. The second Kiss comic book that came out is much more in mint condition than my original one. This was the Marvel comic that they made, I believe, in 1976, because this was Destroyer, and the red ink was made with real Kiss blood. So what does it say here up on the top? Okay, $1.50. I don't remember exactly how much that cost. I have it. I do have this exact one, and I did buy it when it came out, as I was a little kid, and I was allowed to buy it. And I have to have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. Amazing. Kiss drums can kiss combat. That's nuts that you have that. Oh, is this true? I don't want. I don't want to. I don't want. Was this for me separately? Let me see what this says because I want to see what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not. Okay, I can just say it. Why not? Okay. One moment, please. I will just do that. I just didn't want to make sure I didn't dox anybody. So this is from Dave, and he says, and I quote, Taylor Swift's house. I won't say where it is, but he said it is. I'm going to write you back because I actually know exactly where that is. And I'm not surprised that she bought that. Right, old chum? Angelo Minichello. Sunlit vases or vases, depending on where you're from and what your parents said. My parents always said vase. These are gorgeous. Oh my God. What is it about things, man? What is it about things? Absolutely beautiful. Well, that is incredible. This is beautiful. This is like Ming. This is right. That's incredible. Wow, Angela. I mean, those brief pictures you showed me with your. We'll have to talk about your unboxing. Angela's going to do an unboxing soon. We just got to get the timing right so it works out great. Hey, Vasilios with the Loom Shot. Thank you so much. I ask and I get. That's the beauty of being the host of Dirk Weekdays at iBashers. Look at this with the sea stern. That's some loom, man. It looks great, and I love it on that NATO. Where are you wearing that watch? Where is that? You wearing it kind of high up on your wrist? I can't tell. Get a very fuzzy wrist there, like me. Is there two shots there? There's one shot. Thank you so much. Thank you, kind sir. Let me get that off the screen. I'm sorry. I just have to. I'll figure out a way to make this a little bit more seamless. It's just that I don't want to dox anybody. And from Jade, the last one. Oh, yep, you have that too. This one I have, and it is absolutely mint. It is completely mint. Yeah, this was real Marvel Comics, Stan Lee and et al. Yeah, that's crazy that you have that. I should. Oh, you got it. Do you just have the covers or you have the whole ones? You have the whole thing, right? I wish I was better at that stuff. I was an asshole kid. I had all the Kiss trading cards. I have all that stuff. I have it. You know what I have here? And I say, welcome to the show. Hey, everybody, this is Paul Stanley from Kiss. And this is the original Miko dolls that came out in 1978, I think. This is the real one. And I put the blonde streak in his hair from Destroyer, and I keep it on my desk. And it's the original one, but it's not mint. You know why? Because I played with it when I was a kid. That's how geeky and stupid I was. That's funny. And the last one's for the day from Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie showing off his incredible gardening skills. Beautiful. What do you call those? That's what is the word for that? Topiaries, right? Wow. Beautiful. People who have those infinity marbles. Wow. And a John Deere tractor. Look out. That's a beautiful home. Wow. Beautiful garden. Could have quite a party there. Beautifully done. Beautiful. He sent me so many pictures of his master gardening. It's absolutely breathtaking, all that he does. I'm amazed by it. So let's catch up on the talk before we call it a night. And cat pictures. Sheen is probably banging his head. He just sneaks in once in a while. He's editing Irish videos. Scotty H wants to know, which Kimbo do I like? I like the Napoli. That's my favorite one so far. I know there's a lot to try. Yeah. Link for 5 more minutes. The awesome power. Do you want my link up there? The link to Bashtards. If you want to send pictures while I am reading the finale of the Bastard chats, I will do that. So, oh, Vasilios P. Yes, in the country parents' home. Very quite beautiful. List of your most hated expressions that you use all the time. Oh, God. That I use all the time. I try to not use expressions because I hate them. I hate two things. I don't really like analogies unless they're super clever. And I don't like idioms. Unless, I don't know. I probably am just as guilty as everybody else. I like smart analogies and smart ones, and when people who are able to just do that off the top of their head, I applaud them. So Weiss now makes watches from Tennessee, which we've learned. Oh, he went to LA and then came back. Okay. Tennessee now love Weiss. It's very interesting to know. I'm going to go do a deep dive and see what's going on there. Awesome Palmer says that Keaton Merrick is another American independent watchmaker. Very, very, very cool. Very, very, very cool. Good to know. Andrew, his excuse for wearing the socks in the picture. The cats heard and came running in. Tori took the picture. That's very cool. Andrew really likes the Tudor. Everybody likes the Tudor. It's a 40 millimeter. Okay, looks great. Ray, I couldn't have said it better. What a diverse, interesting, and amazing group of people. We've been going from anywhere from 40 to 70 throughout the show. And hey, why wouldn't you want to hang around? They're the best people in town. You show me you give me all the news. I share it with the world. Dave, Fahrenheit 451. Taylor Swift sold her place and wrote a song with the street name in it. Did she? Oh, God. That's why I just can't abide by her, because she's a tattler. And we were saying last night on the show, Sheena and I were goofing about when her and Travis break up, man, that's going to be ugly. They have a real relationship, Some people you have a one night stand with, and the next thing you know, it's number one on the pop charts. Jade said it was amazing. You have some amazing stuff, Jade. We should talk. Send me an email, will you, at basharddirk@gmail.com. Timochi Andre, I don't know how you managed to shuffle the topics in order to make things interesting every damn show. That's down to you, machine. Well, thank you very much. I have this curse of the left turn, as we all know. I take a left curve. You know what? I don't know. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And it's kind of the reason why Sheen and I started this whole thing, because we started it way back when, because we tend to digress. And you know what? You can always make a loop back around if you missed the turnoff on the way down. You can always do that. Dave Fahrenheit 51 says he was an extreme old perv. I liked it back in the day when we didn't know who the extreme old pervs were. Did you guys hear Harvey Weinstein might be getting out of prison? They threw his conviction out. Talking about dirty old perv. Man, there's not enough money or roles in the world for that guy. Andrew says his mom used to cook Royal Dalton like Hyacinth Bouquet. Oh, so she had. Oh, you didn't. 3 boys with air guns. Oh no, I hate that. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. Andrew says, upvote, subscribe, everyone. If you can consider becoming a patron, listen, that's nice. If you can, like we're talking about charity. Charity is in the hands of the beholder. But if you upvote and subscribe, it'll make more people find the channel, and we get to stay on longer and just keep growing with the Bastards and growing with all the wonderful people that we've met in this incredible community that we're developing here. It's fantastic. Tobster McDonald, where have you been all my show, Tobe? Taylor Swift is a smelly pirate hooker. I don't care. Who cares? Hold on. Where is that? I have one. I have it. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Listen, she's richer. She's now the biggest pop star maybe there ever was. She just surpassed the Beatles for one of their billions of records. That's just the way it works. That's just supply and demand. People want it. So she is so prolific. She just keeps pumping the product out because she's meeting the market demand. Eventually, no one will care. They won't. I was a New York City bartender. I can do 100 things at once, pretty much. It's a lot of clicking and a lot of stuff to do here. And then I just always want to get back to what you guys are talking about, because I don't want to miss a beat. T. Andre, I believe it's called Stream of Consciousness. It is indeed. Scotty H. Lord 8, Keeping Up with Appearances is my favorite show of all time. I am Onslow. I love Onslow and Daisy. One of the greatest British shows of all time was a show called Keeping Up Appearances, and it's about a woman who comes from total trash, and she tries to put on this air of being a hoity-toity kind of lady of the house. She always answers the phone, "Good afternoon, Hyacinth Bouquet, the lady of the house." Genius. Tobster says, the richest and least. It's always true. It's always true. Like, Vince Neil from Motley Crue, he's way richer than, like, one of the great singers of the world. It's the guys, it's always the people, like these people get super famous. Taylor Swift is not a great singer at all, but she's way richer than, Adele, and Adele is one of the best singers in the world. Amy Winehouse probably smoked or shot up all of her money. If she had a couple more records, man, if somebody cared enough, and I always said this about Amy Winehouse, no one cared enough. Didn't anyone love that girl? Lock her in rehab, get her to a shrink. Too many people looked the other way. I know her mom's kind of has some emotional problems, but her dad's a bit of a financial grifter and a wannabe jazz musician, and he kind of milked her. It was kind of gross. It's terrible. Anyway, that's my show. God, it's 21 minutes past the hour. Thank you so much. Listen, I am Dirk. This is Dirk Weekends. I am back with you on Monday nights with Watch Fashion Police with the beautiful and talented Oisin O'Malley and the gorgeous and talented and so inspiring Michaela de Chatillon. And then Tuesday through Thursday, it is going to be Dirk Weekdays, the usual Bash time, usual Bash channel. And then back to Friday nights, classic Bashers with Oisin and myself. And then, of course, Sunday Mass, as we tend to do. And I love bringing this show to you. So if you got your pictures for Tuesday's show, because, we don't show pictures and stuff on Watch Fashion Police, please send it to basharddirk@gmail.com, and I will make sure it's ready for you on Tuesday. And if you want to contribute to the channel, my PayPal is dirkworld@nyc.r.com. No pressure. I appreciate it so much. And these are my Patreon Pantheon: Jim Lassick, Andrew Wolkowicz, Go Moto Soto, Nick Sisto, Complicated Time, Fergal McDermott, Nathaniel Hannon, Dana O'Malley. I hope you had the best retreat ever. I hope you came back physically and spiritually at peace and won. Lord Scotty H, Dean McKenzie, Al Benedetti, Angelo Minichello, and Gasman 308. Thank you all so very, very much for all of that stuff. And I just want to thank the super chatters: Andrew Wolkowicz, Dean, Delboy ZA, Dean again, and I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. So remember, guys and girls, always hold the door open. Always say please and thank you. And remember that, when you encounter somebody who's a little irate, they might be having a worse day than you, unless you, of course, determine they are a total